Welcome back to a new video. I'm Evelyn and it is time for a book review. This week provided the Fluff, who is so cute, stop sitting on my book. I will tell you all about The Crane Maiden from MH Woodscourt. This is a fantasy retelling of the Joan of Arc story. This follows Joan of Arc, who is a farm girl living with her family, and she hears a voice in her head telling her to go stop her sister, her younger sister, from interacting with the invading Burgundians. And unfortunately, she doesn't listen, and her sister dies. And then she vows from then on to listen to this voice, who is an embodiment of her god. Very closely follows the Joan of Arc story. She follows this voice to lead her home country, Freylin, to victory against the invading forces. Very much a story of faith and hope and that sort of a thing. Normally, I am not a huge fan of Christian fiction or books that very heavily kind of lean into the faith aspect. I am Christian, but I have a hard time with those books. They feel very disingenuous from my experience of the human condition. People are not this perfect a lot of the time. However, I think as an archetype, this story works very well. I like all the characters. I think they have very interesting personality traits. They work very well together. I do think Janai in particular could use a little more, just a little more in the way of doubt and some more human struggles, because she feels very perfect with always kind of the right exact words to say in the right situation immediately all the time. Which, as an archetype for faith, for belief, works very well, but as a human character who is 17 years old, she's a teenage girl, much like the original Joan of Arc, it does feel a little bit too perfect. However, I did enjoy this book quite a bit. I think the writing is very well done. The story is very interesting, kind of marching off to war against what would otherwise be a hopeless cause. And, you know, it's kind of a tough time. I like the fact that there's a unicorn in here. I don't actually see many unicorns in books these days, which is a bit of a shame. And I like the dragon, obviously. I'm very fond of dragons. I think that Duke Alain is probably my favorite of the characters. I think he is very interesting. I would love to know a little bit more about his background, how he ended up in the situation that he ended up in, that sort of a thing. I think this book kind of glosses over that just a smidge. But it's a very nice book. I think that if you are interested in a Joan of Arc retelling, the kind of power of that story, this is definitely a book that you would be interested in, and I highly recommend it. Also, if you've read anything else by MH Woodscourt, you would like this book. It's very nicely done. Very nicely done. I'm 90% certain that this book is out already. I picked this up through a Kickstarter, and I think that it's out now. It could be another week or so. I will leave a link in the description where you can find this book if you are interested, and I do recommend it. It's epic scale for people who are more into the epic side of things. Definitely epic scale. No romance, no spice, no nothing like that. It's just overcoming adversaries in really awful conditions. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely give this a read. In the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic day and pick up all the interesting books, and happy reading. I shall see you next time. Bye.